Let's go to Michael Kugelman. He heads the South Asia Institute at the Wilson Center right here in Washington. Michael, welcome to the program. What do you make of how things went today? Certainly a lot of skepticism and questions about the credibility of the voting process.
You're right, and things got off to a bad start when Pakistan announced that mobile services would be suspended throughout the country. But it does appear that turnout was quite good, better than expected, because there'd been so much talk about how so many people were so jaded about Pakistani politics and didn't want to come out and vote. Turnout does appear to be high, though there have been a number of reports of irregularities at polling stations around the country. At this point, it's too early to make any firm assessments, but there are indications that the party of Imran Khan fared much better than had been expected, given that this party had been on the receiving end of crackdowns from the state for much of the last year.
And you got to wonder, by doing all that and him being behind bars, will this just make him even more popular in the country?
Well, it already has. I think that Khan has only gotten more popular every day that he's been in jail. And, he has always made this argument that the political class is out to get him. And so the fact that he's been jailed on a number of charges that are, in my view, politically motivated, that sort of plays right into his narrative. And I think that'll just galvanize his support base even more. And of course, it's not just him, it's his party that's suffered as well. So many arrests and other leaders of the party being intimidated. And this has really emboldened the large support base he has that I'm quite sure has only grown over the last few months. And we've seen that on election day that, even though his party has been targeted, they've had their rallies shut down, they still came out and voted. So I think that's quite an inspiring story in what has otherwise been a rather depressing state of affairs when it comes to recent Pakistani politics.
And Michael, of course, we have to talk about Nawaz Sharif, who's had his own legal issues and is trying to make a comeback.
Right, yeah, and quite frankly, he would not have been able to return to Pakistan from his several years in exile in London if he hadn't reconciled with the military. They hadn't been getting along since his last term as prime minister. He came back to Pakistan. He was not arrested, even though he was saddled with significant charges, corruption charges. But he likely wants to be prime minister for a fourth time, but that's very much in doubt right now, given that we're hearing surprisingly strong performance by Khan's party.
And let's talk about the military's role, which has had great influence, as you mentioned, in Pakistani politics. And politicians have really learned the hard way. The military support can come and it can go quickly, and it can change everything in a heartbeat.
Right. I mean, there's a pattern throughout Pakistan's political history of political figures becoming close to the military, which helps them get to a point where they could become prime minister. And that's how it is in Pakistan. If you want to achieve the highest political post, you need to be on good terms with the military. But then the pattern is for these civil-military relations to get quite tense. That happened with Imran Khan once he became prime minister. It's happened with Nawaz Sharif several times. Nawaz Sharif is now back in the good graces of the military. Though, quite frankly, if he were to become prime minister again, there's a very good chance that he could start sparring with the military again, which makes some observers, including me, think that maybe the military would not want Nawaz Sharif to be the next prime minister, and especially at a moment when the military wants the country to focus on economic stabilization and not have to get bogged down in new political tensions.
Yeah, interesting there. And Michael, talk about reaction or view from regional countries, Iran and Afghanistan, and then the Western countries, United States and its allies. How are they watching all this? What do they want to see?
Well, I mean, I think that for most countries, particularly Pakistan's key partners and donors, countries like China, Saudi Arabia, and some of the Gulf countries, as well as many Western countries, stability is what they want to see more than anything else. I think that that's unclear what's going to happen, because I imagine there's a good chance that the election result will be disputed, no matter how it plays out, suggesting that the country could be plunged into a fresh period of instability. But at the end of the day, I would argue that many of the countries you mentioned, they really have very strong relations with the Pakistani military. They see it as the powerful political actor it is, as a key interlocutor, and that means that no matter who wins the election, it doesn't matter, in the sense that the army is going to be there no matter what, and these countries will continue to emphasize their relations with the military leaders.
All right, Michael Kugelman, we'll have to leave it there. Thank you.